We are the sum of our experiences, decisions, and actions collected throughout our lives. Our experiences plus our actions make us either a success or a failure.
Right.
So, what is it that influences our experiences, decisions, and actions? In this video, I will tell you exactly what you need to know to develop a growth mindset and attain fulfillment and success in all aspects of your life. It all starts with who we really are. Our 5 primary senses, hearing, touching, tasting, smelling, and seeing, play a crucial role in gathering data from the world around us. This data is collected in various parts of our brain and is collectively processed in our minds. Moreover, our brain further shapes this outer reality that we experience through our senses, changing the inner reality that we truly experience in our minds. Therefore, we can say that our perceived experience of the world results in the actions that make us who we are today, either successful or a failure. This is what we discussed in the previous video, the truth about how our mind creates our reality and success. In the last video, we also learned the difference between our brain and mind. We discussed 7 scientifically studied ways the brain shapes our perceived reality in our mind, such as placebo effect, reticular activating system, confirmation bias, unintentional bias, false memories, and more. This led us to conclude that it is indeed our mind that creates our inner reality. Later in this video, we will also learn that it is truly our conscious thoughts and associated emotions that shape our inner reality as time passes by. This inner reality or our perceived reality is what governs our behavior and actions. An example of that would be that if a thief steals something and goes to jail for it, his peers might perceive this as an accomplishment. However, the same experience for majority would be scary, humiliating, and painful. So it is our perception of reality that guides our actions and behavior in the long run. We also learned that our decisions, feelings, behavior, and judgment all stem from our mind. So here is the most important part. If we know how our mind functions, we would be able to leverage our brain power to control our actions, behaviors, feeling, and also all traits that are essential to develop a growth mindset that positions us for success and fulfillment in the long run. Also, we will realize that if we are in negative state of mind or encountering negative emotions, then we should not be making decisions or taking actions. Imagine if you have more control on your actions, behavior, feelings, and decisions, you would be considerably more motivated to work and improve. You would be able to execute new plans. You would also become more courageous and develop all the qualities that have a direct impact on how much you earn and how happy you make your life. In this video, we will go over the core concepts that we need to learn about our mind and how we can leverage these concepts to shape our reality to become a successful person. Before I begin, an interesting point to note is that our brain functions much like a muscle in our body. It grows stronger and more efficient as we exercise it with the right thoughts, thanks to a property known as neuroplasticity. Our brain literally grows in size as we think harder. Therefore, achieving success largely depends on how well we train our brains to think. Now, the first essential concept we need to grasp is the structure of our mind. As theorized by Sigmund Freud, he proposed that our mind is divided into 3 broad segments. At the forefront is the conscious mind, which becomes active when we encounter new ideas or face challenges. Despite its small size, the conscious mind is pivotal for problem solving and fostering new creative thoughts. The conscious mind aids in learning and internalizing the knowledge we need. Following this is the subconscious mind, a vast repository that stores all the information not immediately required but previously experienced or learned. This allows us to recall memories and learn skills effortlessly. Significantly larger than the conscious mind, the subconscious is instrumental in shaping the majority of our feelings and behaviors. We will learn this shortly as our actions are either voluntary or involuntary. Finally, the largest part of our mind, the unconscious mind. encompasses all additional experiences we had throughout our lives, holding deep-seated memories and more. The unconscious mind typically refers to a deeper level of mental processing that is not directly accessible to conscious awareness. The unconscious mind contains repressed thoughts, memories, and desires that influence our behavior and cause psychological symptoms. Both subconscious and unconscious mind operate outside conscious awareness. The subconscious mind is often considered to be closer to the surface of consciousness and includes automatic processes and learned behaviors, whereas unconscious mind is typically associated with deeper repressed thoughts and emotions. Here is the second most important concept. Our actions are of two types, voluntary and involuntary. All involuntary actions are those that involve no thoughts at all. For example, if you are an expert driver and you drive a manual, you don't have to think about changing gears, do you? All our involuntary actions are based on our subconscious and unconscious mind, which is why it is crucial to understand it. On the other hand, voluntary actions are a result of complex mix of conscious and subconscious thoughts. The subconscious mind also is influenced by the unconscious mind. Therefore, collectively understanding the subconscious mind is important. Imagine if you are able to program your subconscious mind in a desired manner, you'll be able to control almost all your actions. So the question is, how do we program our subconscious mind? The answer lies in understanding our thoughts and feelings because they control what we choose to do. Interestingly, our thoughts are believed to shape even our subconscious mind. This happens because information and thoughts move from our conscious mind to our subconscious mind. Depending on the meanings we attach to our thoughts, whether positive and logical or negative, and the emotions we associate with them, whether positive or negative, we begin to take actions according to the pain-pleasure principle, which we will discuss in detail in the later video. It is this mechanism of memories, thoughts, and feelings continuously filling our mind over time that shapes our inner reality and pushes us to take appropriate actions, whether voluntary or involuntary. Over time, it is these memories that are stored in our subconscious minds, gradually altering our habits and eventually our personality. This is how our minds are wired to function. In addition to this, let's not forget that our brain also changes the data we continuously receive from our outer reality. That too also has a significant impact on how our inner reality is shaped. Now, you'll relate to this even more. The stronger the emotion associated with an experience, the more likely it is to form a lasting memory in the mind. This emotional memory will sit longer in your head and eventually shape your habits, feelings, thoughts, decisions, and behavior. Our emotional state plays an important role in the perception of our outer reality, affecting the meanings we associate with the events and resulting thoughts. In return, it affects our judgment and decisions, which results in our actions. One short example would be that if we are driving a car in a very happy and good mode, we would give way to other cars, and if we are angry or pissed off, we may curse at anyone who cuts us off. Another example would be, imagine a second-grade child whose teachers and parents were mean to him and punished him for any mistake he made. The teachers hoped their strict actions would motivate the child to work harder and stay on the right path. But eventually, the fear of punishment and consequences drove the child. The behavior of the teachers and parents can have a profound effect on the child's psychology, damaging his self-belief, self-image, and confidence. Those emotionally intense events and thoughts flow from the child's conscious to the subconscious mind, forming a collection of accessible memories. The child learns which actions or behaviors would result in punishment. After many years, by the time the child reaches 28 years, he might not remember all the events, the names of the teacher, or even their faces, yet he would remember that they were mean. These forgotten memories would eventually be stored in his unconscious mind. These repressed and forgotten memories would affect his confidence, fear, limiting beliefs, and self-image, which would then significantly influence his thought process, decisions, and ultimately his actions. the child would become fearful and lack the ability to take calculated risks in life. He would think that everyone would be mean to him if he reacted. This fear may inhibit the child's ability to succeed and achieve big goals in life. Ultimately, we all know that events that evoke strong emotional reactions, such as joy or sadness, are likely to have more effect on our psychology. Moving on, our third crucial concept is about thoughts. So what are thoughts? Thoughts emerge in our minds as a result of a neural process. They could emerge as a direct result of our experience in the present, or can also emerge through our past beliefs. However, sometimes we just see stuff and thoughts occur in our head, but we simply ignore them. These thoughts dissipate, and if we never try to recall them, they just disappear, sometimes forever. They go into our unconscious mind. Now, the key is to understand that our mind creates an inner reality by attaching meanings to our thoughts. Okay, now as we attach meaning to our thoughts over time, that's when we create an inner reality and we start to form memories, and that's also when our ego comes into play. The fourth concept is related to our ego. Our ego emerges when we attach meaning to the thoughts that arise either in our conscious or subconscious mind. The meaning we are going to attach to the events or experiences is highly affected by what stage of ego we are at or how much our ego is developed. The voices in our heads, our thoughts, can also be called the voices of our ego, or we can also say that our thoughts are the thoughts of our ego. The ego is the part of the mind that mediates between the conscious and the unconscious and is responsible for reality testing and a sense of personal identity. In psychology, the ego is the portion of the human personality which is experienced as a self or I. The I or self of any person, a person as thinking, feeling and willing, and distinguishing itself from the selves of others and from objects of its thoughts. So who we really are if we can see and experience our ego. In spirituality and theory, we really are an awareness that is able to see our conscious, subconscious thoughts and even the thoughts of our ego. We have the power to see and analyze our train of thoughts. We also have the capability to change the meanings we attach to whatever thoughts we get. Anyway, I won't make this description philosophical because my goal is to make you understand that our thoughts, the majority of time, are the voices of our ego, and now we have enough information to understand what it truly is. So here is the fifth concept and the key to understanding how our minds function. Our ego's main goal is to fulfill basic human needs, and it is quite relatable too. If you think about it, sometimes if we focus on our thoughts, some of them have a selfish agenda, and we are not doing anything wrong. It's just our ego trying to fulfill our basic human needs. Our basic human needs, according to Maslow, are physiological, such as food and water first. Then it is security, love, self-esteem, and self-actualization. As the first basic need is partially met, we graduate to higher stages of need. But basically, we all need food, water, and shelter to survive. So our ego's primary goal is to tell us stuff that helps us fulfill our basic human needs, even if they are selfish. We'll look deeper into basic human needs and how our ego evolves. Both these concepts have been greatly studied in psychology, and it becomes obvious through research that as our basic human needs are fulfilled, our ego evolves. But it is important to understand this concept. For example, when we are children, our goals are selfish because we are just trying to survive. We wish to eat and play. However, as we grow older and our physiological needs are no longer an issue, our ego evolves a little. And now our second basic human need, according to Maslow's hierarchy of needs of security arises. So our ego focuses on that, and the voices in our head are focused in favor of achieving that security. This is a profound concept because it highlights the journey and evolution of human ego to higher stages, and also the evolution of basic human needs. Generally, as the human needs evolve, the ego also evolves and vice versa. At lower stages of ego, we are more selfish. However, as our ego and human needs evolve, we become more selfless. Another important aspect to note at this point is that there might come a point where even if our basic human needs are met, our ego does not grow beyond a certain point and we become fixated on a selfish and a fixed mindset. So it is absolutely necessary to tame our ego and grow to a higher stage so that we can stay positive even when our basic human needs are not met. Growth mindset only develops once we achieve higher stages of ego. We become fearless, we become more motivated, we develop the need to help others around us. Basically, all of us are inherently selfish. But if we are able to tame the voices in our heads, our ego evolves into a more selfless one. This not only plays out in terms of money, but in all aspects of our life. If we become a giving person, we gain the same energy from people around us and people would want to work with us. So in conclusion, our ego evolves as our human needs are met and vice versa. But it is important that our ego evolves if all our human needs are met. Therefore, it is most important to tame our ego or become more selfless so that we can stay positive even when our basic human needs are not met. Taming our ego is the key to developing a growth mindset. Finally, I want to highlight that the sixth stage of our ego is where the growth mindset develops. We realize that we can be better at anything we put our mind to. At this stage, we start to develop intuition, innovation, and creativity. It's at this stage that we start to grow out of our comfort zones, become consistent and persistent in learning the things that help us achieve our goals. Also, the purpose of the goal is to contribute to our team, company, and society. At the same time, become a bigger and better person. So as I stated in my earlier videos, our goal is to reach the sixth stage of ego. It is not possible to really go deep into these higher stages of ego development. Imagine how important this information can be for you, whether you are working at a job, teaching kids, or dealing with customers while running your own business. If you know these stages of ego development, you would be able to make sense of why people behave the way they do and how to better guide them and yourself in evolving into best selves so they can achieve a growth mindset and be successful. This information is crucial for all people in all aspects of life. As the purpose of my YouTube channel, I want to help you achieve a growth mindset first because this is where our journey of success starts.